What's up, everybody? Welcome to K&J Studios. It's your boy Jay.
It's your girl Kaya.
And today we have unfortunate yet not surprising news.
Yeah. Ian Ousley is an alleged liar, guys. And today we're going to be getting into it because he is under fire right now. If you guys aren't familiar with him, he is supposed to be playing Sokka in a Netflix live action series. And people are not happy. Apparently somebody has done some digging and they found some proof that he is not Native American, or aka Cherokee, as he likes to claim that he is.
Why is it always Cherokee when people be lying?
That's true. I mean, it's like
I feel like that's like the main one that people want to take jabs at. Now, I knew that he said that he was Native American. I was like, okay.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna sit up here and say because of the way he looks he's not Native American, right? Because looks don't mean everything, right?
Yeah, that's why in the last video when we talked about the cast, we brought that up because a lot of people would look at him and think, oh my gosh, white, because that's what we thought. And then you can't really assume because we know that Native Americans do come in many different shades, so you don't automatically assume that. Yeah, so I mean, apparently, I guess the company that he's under, now it's funny too because his agency actually put out like a statement. Not after this whole situation came out, but before they did clarify that he was Native American, Cherokee. So there's
he said so himself as well.
Did. Yeah, I actually took a screenshot myself when he put that out because I was like, this is interesting. So like I took a screenshot of it back then and to think of now like how that's actually evidence now, because it's kind of like, wow, like it's a good thing I thought to do that, but like now, you know, people are like, well, if you're lying, first of all, you can't blame it on your company. I mean, it could be a situation where his company was like, hey, you know, we have this, we want you to come and, you know, try to get this role over here, but they're looking for Native Americans, We're just gonna, you know, just tell them that you're Native American. And then that might have been a situation, but since he actually said himself that he can't really blame his company for that, even if they were behind that whole situation. Just in case, you know, if that's really what was going on.
Like I said, maybe this is all just one big misunderstanding.
It could be.
But I'll tell you this much. When super fans do research and they start digging, rarely do they find things that aren't true.
Yeah.
And even if what we found out here turns out to be just one big misunderstanding, there's other things that have come out and are still coming out concerning, you know, regardless of your political affiliations, some people view his family as being Trump supporters as a negative thing.
Right.
Like I said, this is not a political channel. We don't do politics.
Right.
But to some people, they view his family being Trump supporters as a negative thing. So there's other things that are coming out that people are like, okay, this isn't right. I'm not sure of the Native American community's stance on politics as they are today. As far as I'm concerned, they've been screwed by both sides, just like black people. So I'm not sure of what that is, but I don't know if those two connect together. But finding out that because keep in mind, he didn't come out as being Native American or allegedly being Native American until later. He was listed by his agency when he first started as Caucasian. So having that information, it sort of shed some light on what it is that may or may not be going on here.
Right, yeah.
But he was originally, when he first came into the business, was listed as Caucasian. Now, for those of you who do not know, this isn't the first instance of something like this happening. We all know that the Native American community through cinema has been whitewashed. There's one actor who was particularly famous who did something very similar. His original name was Jackie Marks, but he changed his name to Jamake Highwater. Changed his name to Jamake Highwater, and he lied. He was a Jewish American who lied about being Native American and built an entire career off of a big lie. So keep in mind, at the time when Jackie Marks was doing his thing, cancel culture didn't exist.
Yeah.
Whether this turns out to be a big misunderstanding or not, chances are your days are numbered.
Yeah.
I mean, because based off of what I saw in his comment section on the last post he made, I mean, there was even one person there throwing tomatoes, and somebody said bump somebody said they had rocks and they said bump the tomatoes. Just like I was like, dang.
People are not okay with this at all. And I looked at it last night, and I looked at it again this morning. No telling where the amount of comments are now, but it increased even overnight. So they're commenting under like almost every post he had. I know one of his posts he had to take and like turn off the comments and stuff like that. But like people are not happy. I do not condone bullying or anything like that. It's not right. Although I do believe in bringing correction and holding people like that accountable. But like I said, I don't agree with bullying. But people in the comments were pretty mad. I didn't see anything like any death threats or anything like that. No telling what his DMs are looking like. I really hope that's not something that's going on. I feel like that's just too far. But holding him accountable and then asking for answers, there's people who just really want answers. And I feel like at some point he will, maybe
no, it needs to happen soon. Yeah. This isn't for him. In a situation like this, being silent for too long can become you become to the eyes of the public as guilty when you're silent for too long. He needs to at least make a statement about what's coming out. Whether he says, okay, all of the allegations directed towards me are false, or issue an apology. Netflix needs to make a statement, because I seriously doubt Netflix didn't know.
Right, and the thing
I seriously doubt it.
I was just about to bring that up as well, is because when they first announced the live action, people were like, well, what's the big deal, like why are people making a big deal out of it? I would just go into the first part, as in on their side, on Netflix's side. Even when they announced the live action, they did tell people that they're not going to whitewash and that they're going to make sure they had the proper representation. So I would hope that they wouldn't bring him in knowing that he wasn't Native American like they said he was. I would hope it was just a situation where they weren't aware of the fact that he wasn't, Native American. But the problem is that they did tell people ahead of time that they weren't going to be whitewashing. Like, and even in like the movie, that's what a lot of people were mad about, because they had whitewashed pretty much the whole cast. So like that is like a big issue. People have expectations, and to see that's one thing we're excited about the series as well, is the proper representation. So without having that, it's just kind of like, well, what's the point of, you know what I'm saying? Like, why would you do that? Then nobody wants to really support it at that point. So I would hope it's that situation, but I would guess.
I know for sure that they know. Yeah. I mean, the fact of the matter is that he, according to his agency prior to landing this role, the perception of Ian Ousley was not that he was Native American. So when you look at the casting, he's not like Casey Camp Hornick, who was casted to play Gran for the show, right? Where she has a history being involved with the Native American community. So when I'm looking at this, it sort of forces you to take a pause, where it's like, okay, prior to you landing this role, where was your presence in the Native American community? And there's no track record of it. You know what I'm saying?
I hope he's not one of those people that's like the one drop thing, like, oh, I'm just one drop of Native, so that technically I didn't lie. You know what I'm saying? But like, unfortunately, that does happen often. You know
it happens very. I mean, majority of there's a reason why majority of casinos aren't Native American anymore. A lot of the laws and everything that were created to protect Native Americans have been taken advantage of by those who have either participated in some level of assimilation or even ethnic cleansing. A lot of people don't know about Native Americans' history of ethnic cleansing in boarding schools and different things like that. So a lot of the mixing between European and Native American doesn't have a very shiny history. A lot of the same as with, you look at usually when you look at African Americans, particularly in America, there's something like 27% European in each African American. That reaches back to slavery and the not so happy times after slavery. So it's sort of a situation where it's like it's not something that you want to talk about, but it's something that a lot of Europeans in America take advantage of, unfortunately, which is why this is such a big deal. You can't impersonate a black person. You can't impersonate, it's very difficult to impersonate a Spanish person. You know what I'm saying? Right. You can't do that. You can't lie about your ethnicity. Now, I want to make this clear. there is such thing in cinema and in the entertainment industry as being able to pass for another ethnicity.
Right, that's true.
That exists. So I'm not saying that that's not allowed. We see it happen all the time. What I'm saying is they're honest about their ethnicity from the jump. If I'm Colombian, I'm telling you that I'm Colombian, but the way that I look, I could play Mexican, or I could play a Polynesian. You see what I'm saying? But you have to be honest about who you are from the get-go.
Right, and they went as far as...
And of course it would affect his casting as well. Because they didn't want a diverse looking cast, they wanted a diverse cast.
Right, and you know what the thing is that they went as far as to create a fake tribal email to verify the fact that he was Native American, so-called. So the person who did this research not only reached out to that I guess to whoever was over that email, so they just emailed to see if he was really Native American. So one of them was the United Kituwa Band of Cherokee Indians.
Okay, so they reached out to the Eastern Band of the Cherokee Indians Tribal Enrollment Office. Yeah. So this is the Eastern Band. They reached out to the Southern Cherokee Nation of Kentucky.
And then it was the United Kituwa Band.
The United Kituwa Band.
Yep.
In Oklahoma.
Right, so they definitely did their research, and then they have the screenshot here. If you compare this email to the rest of the emails, the one thing...
It wasn't specific.
It wasn't specific. It was just, it doesn't look legit. There's no type of logo, nothing like that. And then you look at the name, if you guys look down below, it says Doug Ousley, in parentheses, Mountain Spirit. And like that to me, and they have like the name underneath, which is actually a fake, tribe thing down there that I guess supposed to prove that it's actually like an email from like an actual Native American tribe. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, when I seen that I started laughing because I was like, that right there is a red flag already as it is. Like obviously that's not legit. Like really, Mountain Spirit, bro? Mountain Spirit. It's like, I mean, it's insulting and it's very stereotypical, which is, to me, I'm just like, that's proof enough. And then obviously, is this dude the same person? Is that his dad? Ousley?
I mean, it's with the W instead of a U.
I'll put it up there, you guys. The screenshots are there, but they went and did their research and got information that he had no record whatsoever of being a member of the Native American community, because they do have that stuff on file. So it looked as if he didn't even have any past relatives who were even Native American at all. Like, there's no record at all of him in the system being Native American, none of that. And so the reason why they have that set up is because Native Americans do have, some a lot of rights and stuff like that, especially when it comes to land and stuff like that. And so that's just why they have all that stuff on file. So his name, his family, none of them were on the record for that. And now they went to different sources, like I said, to get this verification. And so they have screenshots. I mean, it looks like it's pretty legit. So I'm still gonna say it's alleged, so the whole situation is alleged, but it's not looking good for him at all.
And one person I want to point out that has played many different ethnicities, but he's Cliff Curtis. He's known for being in Training Day, Three Kings, Live Free and Die Hard. I believe he was a voice character in Moana as well. He was also on Hobbs and Shaw. He's Maori from New Zealand, but he frequently plays Latino or Hispanic characters. Frequently. He does it all the time. But the fact of the matter is that he's honest about his ethnicity and descent. And chances are he would know that if he was going into a situation, into a show or a movie where they wanted a diverse cast to be represented by the people of which they're portraying, he would. I'm pretty sure that he would know going into an audition that, okay, there's a chance that I'm not going to get this part because they're not looking for an accurate looking cast. They're looking for an accurate cast. Period. Ian Ousley and his agent knew when they were when they were being considered for this role, that if he was not Native American, that he would not get that part. Yeah, and another thing that was suspicious to me is the fact that I also took a screenshot, the screenshot that I talked about earlier is the fact that he said that he introduced himself, hi, I'm da-da-da-da, and I'm Native American, more specifically Cherokee, and he had that screenshot of that. And so it's right there. I thought it was interesting
at the time when I saw it, I thought it was interesting. I was like, well, why do you feel like you have to tell us that? You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he was getting DMs or like, hey, are you actually Native American? Like people asking questions. So I don't know. Maybe it was a strategic move on their end, so that way people would just kind of like take his word for it and just kind of like, okay, well, we should trust him because he just told us.
Sort of trying to get the because if you address it before people start digging,
to get ahead of the
then
game,
you can sort of get he said he's Native American, so people won't dig.
Right.
Ultimately, digging happened anyway. Somebody was like, no, this does not look, sound, something doesn't smell right here. And they went and looked it up and found something, and this looked very bad, not only for them but for Netflix. And I think it's going to be even worse should this information be true, and they continue filming in production without addressing the situation publicly. It could go very bad.
That's what I was saying.
But it could also be very bad if Ian Ousley steps down and out, and they have to start all over. Not only for chemistry purposes, but now you have a dynamic. He's become a part of the Avatar team of what they're trying to create in the atmosphere that they're trying to create over there. So now you've sort of thrown a monkey wrench in everything that you've been building and creating up until this point.
Yep. And you know what?
So this could very well be what puts this series off for another 1 or 2 years.
Right, exactly. Because I was just saying, or like I was just thinking, I was just like, well, in my opinion, I'm like, it really just depends on what Netflix does, honestly. That would tell us everything we need to know. Because a lot of people really do not want him in this role. They're like, you could have just, like, we'll prefer somebody that's actually Native. You're taking opportunity from actual Native American person and giving it to this white kid. So, like, my situation, or at least if they can clear things up and it's not really what people are thinking, they can kind of, like, make a statement or something. Other than that, I think it's down to them what they decide to do with it.
And I'll put it like this. I feel like there's more backlash. If this turns out to be true and he is lying, I feel like there's more backlash for him lying than there would have been if they had casted him and been upfront with it in the first place.
Yeah.
Because at least people would have had time to come to grips and say, okay, this is the person that they casted for the role. I can like it, I can dislike it, take it or leave it. Ultimately, people are going to watch it anyways. Yep. But when you have a person who comes in and lies to the public about his ethnicity, his family lies to the public about their ethnicity, chances are now this is a lot bigger of an issue than it would have otherwise been.
Right. So it's sad because he's a new upcoming, actor. So I mean,
his career might be over before it even started, because this would have been a very big break for him, whether the show went well or not. It's got way too much. It's got so many eyes on it. There's so many Avatar fans. This would have definitely been
and you know what?
They
would, Avatar fans are very loyal, so I think if they would have seen that and liked his performance, he would have been good with whatever else he wanted to do. Which is probably why he would have probably lied to get in this role, because of how big Avatar is and how many people love it.
More evidence dropped just 13 hours ago.
Really?
This is
live, guys. This is live.
This is a page that is specifically dedicated to removing Ian Ousley from this part. So it's called Twitter at 7GenVoices. The banner literally says hashtag remove white Sokka, hashtag no pretendian. So
oh my god.
And the description says, get your boots on, be the arrows fighting for actual authenticity and representation by sharing research and findings on indigenous identity fraud in Avatar: The Last Airbender. The tweet says, okay everyone, just in, today we received confirmation that Ian Ousley is not a member of the Cherokee Nation. This is the response from Tribal Registrar Dan Van CC Ed, is Chief Hoskin, Chief of the Cherokee Nation, and the Secretary of State for the Cherokee Nation, Tina Glory Jordan.
Oh my god.
And it says, Luke, I'm sorry. I am sorry we do not have an Ian Ousley listed as a Cherokee Nation citizen. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you, Derek Van, Tribal Registrar, Tribal Registration Department, Cherokee Nation.
Oh my God! And the evidence.
So it's no longer. It's no longer speculation.
Yeah. Wow. So it seems to me like it's a fact because they've really reached out to pretty much everybody, and everybody's coming back saying, "Hey, no, he's not Native. He's not in our records, so he must not be." Dang. Wow. I mean, I don't necessarily feel bad for him, because I'm like, you're a grown adult at the end of the day, and you can make your own decisions. So even if your company was just like, hey, you can, if you want this part, you gotta do da 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 da. I feel like at the end of the day, you have your own mind and your own conscience. And like, how do you feel okay pretending to be something you're not? Especially because the representation for Native Americans in media is already very scarce. And especially for a project as big as this, it should go to a person that is actually from that community that can represent the community properly. And I feel like that's just like, how do you do that? And how do you not even feel any type of way about doing that?
And I want to make clear, this email was between 3 people. Mm-hmm. Derek Van, who was in charge of the registrar, mm-hmm. and the chief of the Cherokee Nation, whose name is Chuck Hoskin Jr. Mm-hmm. He's the principal chief of the Cherokee Nation. Mm-hmm. That's fact. That's fact.
I just looked it up too.
You can go to.
So it's on there. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
From the Smithsonian.
Mm-hmm.
It says Cherokee Nation Principal Chief Chuck Hoskin Jr.
And the thing is about him is that it kind of sucks too, because I was like, wow, he'll be a great fit for Southfield. Like, he seems like he really does have like that personality. You see him with the other cast members, and they're all getting along. And it's kind of like this comes up. I don't know how the cast members are feeling about the whole situation, because they understand how important this series is and their parts in playing in it and the representation for their communities, and to see somebody.
I wonder if they knew.
I wonder if they. That's a good question.
I mean,
we don't know.
Did they have any idea what was going on?
Yeah. I guess we just have to wait around and see. But we'll definitely be back with another video when there's more news that comes out, any statements, stuff like that. I've been keeping an eye on his Instagram to see if he makes any statements or anything like that. So we'll definitely keep an eye out. I think maybe between the next couple of days we might get something. We gotta get something about this whole situation. People are not backing down. People are not staying quiet about the situation. They are going hard.
His comment section is
it is booming. It is booming. It is. It really is.
Mm-mm-mm. Tomatoes and booze and clown, anti-native. More information will continue to come out, and the truth will come out.
Yeah, for sure.
It's how Netflix chooses to respond.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We enjoyed doing this. Unfortunately, we know it's bad news, but let us know your thoughts down below in the comment section, and we'll keep you guys updated on what's happening, and keep you guys up to date. There'll probably be another video maybe sometime this week, maybe if there's more news out. Also, make sure you stay tuned for our next upcoming video. So if you're not subscribed, you're definitely going to want to subscribe. We have a Boba Fett review that we're actually about to film right now. That'll be out before the end of the week, so you don't want to miss that. And yeah, so
like, share, comment, subscribe, do all those good things, because do it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, you guys, and we'll see you guys later.
Post with thumbnail.